It's not because something is wrong with you. It's not because you're weak. Your body hasn't failed. Your body simply received a command, and it carried out that command flawlessly. Most people go through their entire lives believing that shaking hands are a sign of weakness, a sign of being too emotional, too sensitive, too fragile. But that belief was never rooted in biology. It was rooted in a story someone told you before you ever understood what your nervous system actually does. And that story wasn't wrong. It was just incomplete. Because no one explained the mechanism to you. No one told you where that trembling came from, which system it triggered, or what your body was actually doing in that moment. So right now, step by step, minute by minute, we're going to walk through exactly what happens inside your body when your hands begin to shake. And by the time we're done, you will never see that trembling the same way again. It begins before you feel a thing. Long before your hands move, your brain has already made a decision. Not a conscious one, a biological one. Processed in milliseconds, below the threshold of awareness. Inside a structure that has been running this same program for hundreds of millions of years. Deep inside your brain, there's a small, dense region, your threat detector. It exists to answer one question. Is this a threat? It doesn't analyze. It doesn't think things through. Recognizes patterns. The moment it picks up a signal that resembles danger, a crowded room, a high-stakes conversation, a sudden surge of pressure, it fires. No hesitation, no delay. Exactly as it was built to. Within 50 milliseconds, a chain reaction begins. Your threat detector alerts your brain's energy and temperature control center. That center sends a signal through your autonomic nervous system to two small glands sitting just above your kidneys. Those glands release adrenaline, your emergency hormone, directly into your bloodstream. Within 3 seconds, adrenaline has reached your entire body. Your heart rate climbs. Blood vessels in your skin and digestive system constrict. Blood is pulled away from non-essential systems and pushed toward your muscles. Your pupils widen. Your breathing shifts. And the nerve cells controlling your muscles begin receiving far more electrical input than they normally would. This is where the shake begins. Not from weakness. From activation. Your muscles are now receiving more signal than they need to stay still. The fine control mechanism that keeps your hands steady at rest becomes temporarily overwhelmed by that signal load. The result is rhythmic, involuntary, precise trembling. Nothing went wrong. Your body came fully online. Think about the last time your hands shook. Leave it in the comments, because understanding the trigger changes everything about how you read the signal. Here's where it gets even more interesting. The trembling isn't random. It has a pattern, a cycle. That pattern tells you something very specific about what your nervous system is doing. When adrenaline activates your muscular system, it doesn't simply flood your muscles with a uniform signal. It increases the firing rate of motor units, small groups of muscle fibers, each controlled by a single nerve. Under normal conditions, these groups fire independently and in a staggered rhythm. That staggering is what keeps your movements smooth and controlled. Under an adrenaline load that changes, the groups begin firing at the same time, synchronized instead of staggered. And synchronized firing produces rhythmic pulses. Research shows that this type of tremor typically oscillates at 8 to 12 cycles per second. That's not a malfunction frequency. That's an activation frequency. Your nervous system is running at a significantly higher speed than it needs for rest. The trembling is simply the visible output of that elevated state. 4 to 6 minutes after that initial adrenaline surge, a second hormone enters the picture. Cortisol released from the same glands begins to balance the response. It doesn't stop the shaking. It gradually shifts the system from acute mobilization into sustained readiness. Peak trembling typically begins to ease between minutes 6 and 10. And that easing isn't your body giving up. It's the program advancing to its next phase. But here's the part that changes how you understand yourself. Researchers at the University of Rochester discovered that people who interpreted their rapid heartbeat, muscle tension, and trembling as excitement rather than anxiety performed measurably better under pressure. The biology was identical. The intensity of the response was identical. Only the interpretation was different. And the outcome shifted entirely. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between fear and readiness. It produces the same chemical state for both. The meaning you give to the sensation determines what your brain does next. The problem was never the trembling. The problem was the story you told about it. This response wasn't designed for conference rooms, not for job interviews, first dates, or standing in front of a crowd. It was built for a completely different world, a world where your ancestors faced physical threats that demanded an immediate, full-body response. No analysis, no deliberation, just instant action. The biological system producing your trembling today was shaped for exactly this purpose: to prepare your body for explosive physical output, to move fast, to respond instantly, to keep going under pressure. Adrenaline increases muscle contraction force by up to 20% within the first 60 seconds of release. Your liver pushes stored fuel glycogen into your bloodstream. Oxygen delivery to your muscle tissue accelerates. Reaction time shortens. Vision sharpens. Attention narrows into deep, concentrated focus. By the time your hands are visibly shaking, your body has already completed a biochemical preparation sequence refined over hundreds of millions of years of evolutionary history. Every system is primed. Every resource has been redirected. Every cell has been informed. The issue isn't the response itself. The issue is the mismatch between the environment this response was designed for and the environment you're actually standing in right now. Your nervous system processes a high-stakes presentation the same way it would process a physical threat. Same signal, same cascade, same output. Because the threat detection system cannot separate social pressure from physical pressure, it responds to perceived stakes with everything it has, not partially, completely. This is not a flaw in your design. It's a system running at full capacity in a context it wasn't originally built for. An understanding that changes everything about what the trembling says about you. When was the last time you felt this response kick in and then turned it against yourself? Let that sit for a moment. This is the part nobody talks about. The biological state that produces visible trembling under social pressure is identical to the state that generates peak performance in elite athletes. The same adrenaline surge, same muscle unit synchronization, the same cortisol balance, the same system, the same program. It's just a different context. High performers don't experience less of this response. Research consistently shows they experience more of it. What sets them apart isn't the intensity of the activation, it's the relationship they've built, that sensation over years. Hormone levels measured before high-pressure events didn't predict performance quality, but the speed of recovery after peak activation did. The individuals whose nervous systems returned to baseline most efficiently, not those who felt less, were the ones who performed at the highest level consistently. Your body's ability to activate fully and then recover efficiently, that is the real marker of a well-functioning stress response system. Trembling is not evidence of fragility. It's evidence of a system working exactly as it should. 15 minutes after the initial trigger, adrenaline levels begin to fall. By the 30-minute mark, muscle unit synchronization returns to its resting state. The trembling fades, not because your body gave up, but because the mobilization phase completed and the system transitioned into resolution exactly as designed. This cycle has been running this way for millions of years, without a single modification, without a single error. Your nervous system built this entire sequence as a response to stakes. The kind of stakes that biology recognizes as real. And the higher those stakes, the stronger the response. The greater the trembling, the more clearly it reflects how much what's in front of you actually means to you. The shake is telling you that something important enough happened to mobilize everything you have. That was never weakness. It has never been weakness. It's a system running the program that evolution spent millions of years building for exactly this kind of moment. You thought the trembling in your hands meant something was wrong with you. Now you know what it actually means. Your threat detector read the room before you did. The glands above your kidneys responded within seconds. Your muscular system activated at a rhythm measured at 8 to 12 cycles per second. Your liver pushed fuel into your blood. Your muscles prepared for output they may never have needed to produce. None of it happened with your permission. All of it happened on your behalf. On the days you judged yourself for shaking in front of something that mattered, your nervous system never abandoned you. It was doing the most precise, most sophisticated thing it knows how to do. It was preparing you. It's with everything it had, without exception, exactly as it was designed. This was never a character flaw. It was never fragility. It was never something to be ashamed of. concealed, or pushed down. It was always biology, running the program it was built to run, for exactly this moment. Your nervous system has been doing this your entire life, flawlessly, every single time, quietly, without recognition. The only thing that was ever wrong was the story you were telling yourself about it. Now you have a different one. What did you used to tell yourself in the moments your hand shook? Share it below, because your answer says far more about how you learned to read your biology than it does about the biology itself.